Welcome to the Fantasy Football Forge. I'm Steve, and today we will be looking at the rankings for the 2022 Fantasy Football Draft, beginning with the quarterback position. A couple of things of note. First of all of the positions rankings are already up on the website. That is down in the description. It is www.theFFforge.com. Also, if you would be so kind, definitely support the channel however you can. Give it a like, put a comment down below. All those types of things help. And there also is a Patreon page, which is also down in the description for the link to that page for monetary support. Other than that, what you are looking at on the screen right now are my projections, which are not the same as rankings. And especially with how I do my projections, definitely very different. For one thing, I do not account for touchdowns in my projections. They are like the least predictable thing that there is, especially for other positions. Quarterbacks, I could probably do something, but I know enough about the teams, the players, and their skill sets to have a decent enough idea of, just who's a better quarterback than anybody else, who has a higher chance of scoring more touchdowns, at least to enough extents that I don't know that would be useful in the projections. So, basically I just take my projections and then I move things around based on any knowledge that I have, whatnot, and create the rankings. So we'll just start right at the top here. One other note before we start, actually. This may be a weird cut. I had to stop recording and I don't recall exactly what I recorded in the first couple of minutes, but let's get started with the quarterbacks. At the top, these first four spots, I just didn't mess with them, trusted the projections on that. But I don't know if I got to this point. One of the other things that I wanted to just mention was that if you saw any of my videos on the draft strategy videos for the positions, I had tiers with certain amounts of players that fit into the tiers, kind of trying to project forward, but where where the scarcity and drop-off points are within these positions. And so I tried to stay fairly faithful to the size of those tiers with these tiers. So now the first thing will be, Trey Lance definitely has this kind of upside, but his accuracy feels more like a Jalen Hurts type of accuracy, and it's just an unproven product here. So it's tough to really give him that kind of trust. So Hurts will get dropped somewhere down in here. Then we have our next tier. So our first tier is Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Second tier being Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, and Justin Herbert. All very, just the most, I think, trustworthy guys. There's nothing going crazy with their teams. Why can't I figure out how to add a tier? Finally, my second tier here is Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert. They are all just trustable guys. There isn't a lot to be concerned about. They have proven themselves enough, and there's no major changes that are really concerning to me on these teams. Maybe of the three here, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson coming back from injury. You can always come up with reasons to be concerned, but we'll leave it there. And up next, we will have to go down a little ways. My projections, for some reason, loved Joe Burrow his rookie season and have not since. So, did not last year either. Now, Joe Burrow up there as the sixth quarterback, followed by another guy who, for some reason, is way down here. Now, for Matt Stafford, the biggest thing for me is he has had a lot of injuries throughout his career. He's super tough, durable. He's always continued to be on the field. But at some point, the body begins to break down. You can't work through it anymore. So I don't know. I don't think his career is coming to an end tomorrow or anything, but just some injury concerns in general for him as his body may not recover like it used to. Then we're going to just trust Dak Prescott. And no more Deshaun Watson, so Tom Brady comes next, followed by Aaron, for some reason, all the way down here. and Jalen Hurts. And so that makes up our third tier. We have Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts. So our tier 4 is just going to be guys who kind of are maybe we're just less sure about for one reason or another. Russell Wilson would be a good candidate to be bumped up. I don't know if there's too much to be concerned about that transition, but whatever. So I trusted putting Trey Lance against Russ, which is going to be the only reason I'm not bumping him up, and then Justin Fields in this little tier of upside, essentially. Guys who probably will struggle to compete to be top 5 quarterbacks, season long, but definitely could be the number 6 quarterback, see no reason why not, type guys. And then the 5th tier, I bumped up a few guys' production just based on their coaching staffs that were being hired, like a Justin Fields. So since we came across the name Daniel Jones here, he'll be moving down a few more spots. And that's mostly due to some concerning news from, I think it was like the owner of the Giants recently at maybe training camp day that he went and watched and made a comment about how Daniel Jones was just like missing everybody. So that brings a little concern, but I do like what they did with the coaching staff that they brought in. And there are a few teams like Chicago there too, where and same with Trevor Lawrence, where I think they brought in a coaching staff that is supposed to be helping the quarterbacks and, has some experience doing it. So we'll see how that all turns out. And of course, year 1 in a new offense isn't always great, but these are young guys that you can still could shoot up and be much improved if they get the right kind of coaching in to help them out. So in this 5th tier, we're just kind of losing on a lot of the upside, and these are our solid guys. We're going to move Jameis Winston right up here. I don't know why he gets a lot of hate, it seems like season in and season out, but fantasy-wise, man, he's solid. He'll probably finish better than this if he plays a full season. And we're going to continue down here and be a much more pass-heavy offense for Tua. And like I said, and move Trevor up against him too. So this makes my 5th tier. This is largely, more upside guys who have maybe not been great in the past, and then just a few guys who are trustable. I would not be ashamed to have them on even in a single quarterback league. Should be able to do fine and, hang in there with most of these top-end quarterbacks most weeks. After that, I am largely going to stick to the rankings, I think, except for Mac Jones. Just don't think that's going to be a high-passing offense. I definitely would have accounted for that in my projections, but, sometimes you just got to go based on feeling, and my projections really hated Baker. I assume that's because I used stats from last year, probably maybe alone, maybe didn't factor in that he was injured. I don't know, but whatever the case, I kind of like that situation for Baker. I don't expect Carolina to be like a Super Bowl contender, but I think they have a pretty darn good. I think they have a lot of good players defensively, and bringing in a quarterback there and having their number 1 offensive star on the offense, if he can stay healthy, makes a difference on both sides of the ball. It helps the defense stay fresher too, and if you got the players there, that goes a long ways. So there's my 6th tier. Marcus Mariota, just a little bit hard to trust, but trusted the projections on that. Carson Wentz, it's fine for fantasy. You got some weapons there. Ryan Tannehill might be underrating this because of his bad season last year, but hard to not factor that in. still that team's operating like they want to. I could definitely see him having a season like 2 seasons ago and being a top 10 quarterback. Then Matt Ryan in Indy, much nicer situation than he's had for a while. I don't think he's lost it, but I don't know if he still has it either. He's up there in age. So we'll see. And then I think I just trusted Mac Jones on the rankings. I feel like I want to move. No, Mac isn't in here. I'd say I feel like I want to move Baker up ahead of him. Mac Jones is at the top of this last tier here, which will be Mac Jones, Jared Goff, Mitch Trubisky, Davis Mills. We'll leave Zach Wilson there. And then if I wanted to or if I could, I would make another tier here. I don't think it's necessary at this point, but Drew Lock and Jacoby Brissett, I don't see the upside. I do think that those are going to be... Cleveland's offense might not be terrible, but it's a run-first offense, so they'll at least aren't going to request as much from their quarterback while Deshaun Watson's out. And then Zach Wilson hopefully will be back soon enough, but obviously is pretty much off of the board for now. Up to Davis Mills, though, there's still some upside to guys like these. Don't really love Mitch, but he's produced good fantasy starters in the past. So that is the quarterbacks. Let's just take a look at the top 4 tiers, though, really the draftable tiers in single quarterback leagues. Josh Allen, followed by Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, followed by Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts. Now this tier, mix and match them however you want. You could put Jalen Hurts at the number 6. I won't argue with it. You could put Aaron Rodgers at the number 6. Won't argue with it. I looked at a few different factors, and this is just how I ended up breaking them up. You should be fine with any of them. There's really only one I probably wouldn't draft. And then tier 4 is Trey Lance, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. I think these could be some great values if this is resemblant of their ADPs. I don't exactly know what their ADPs are actually at the moment. And then you get down into these tiers. Once again, the rankings are up on the website. The next video that we will do will be, what should it be? Running backs or tight ends? Let's do the tight end video next, followed by the running backs, wide receivers. Probably leave the DSTs for last, and we'll start mock drafting soon. Other than that, peace out, goodbye, love you, thank you for everything. Do the YouTubey things. Bye.